Hello, students. Let's go ahead and get started by looking at 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. I want to go ahead and continue with our discussion from the chapter. Got my book right here. Go ahead and take yours out. You want to go ahead and open it to page 208. We're going to continue talking about the 4 human dimensions here into the chapter regarding sharpening the saw. Specifically, we're going to be looking today at the body. Now, I'm not going to be here teaching class with you this Tuesday. That is tomorrow as the time I'm recording it. This is because of leap testing, but I still want you to pay close attention to what's going on. You need to be doing the reading on your own. You need to be working on the study guide. And of course, watching this video is going to help prepare you as well. I want to make sure that everybody is up to date so that come Wednesday, we can just continue on with our discussion of the next section of this chapter. So, you'll recall the last time we were talking, we had discussed the need for balance and moderation in all things. We said that you have 4 human dimensions. These are the body, mind, heart, and soul, and went into an explanation of each. As for the body, like we talked about before, you are at a point of development in your life and will continue to be so physically until around age 25, maybe a little before, maybe a little after, but your body will continue to develop. Bone density, muscle mass, hormone levels, all of this stuff is going to continue to change. Now, your body operates very much like a biological machine, and it is an incredible machine that is capable of many, many things. But like any machine, you can take care of it, and it will take care of you, or you can run it for ruin and the thing will break down much sooner than you had planned. You need to take care of this body. Well, what does that entail? There are 4 main things that it really takes to have a good, well cared for body. What we're talking about here, sleeping habits that are good, get you enough rest. You need at your stage of development at least 8 to 9 hours of good quality sleep per night. And if you're not getting that 8 to 10 hours, well, you need to work on it. The other thing, we're looking at physical relaxation from time to time, good nutrition, and proper exercise. Some of you watching this probably just said, well, oops, I'm 0 for 4. You need to focus on this. You need to make this a reality. This is too important to not do. You only get one body. I know all of this stuff seems like it should be easy, common knowledge. If this were easy, then everyone would do it. As we pointed out in class, how many people can honestly say they got 8 to 9 good quality hours of sleep last night? Well, there you go. I would hazard to say that maybe 1 or 2 people watching this said that, yeah, that was them. But let's focus on just a couple of these right now. First off, nutrition. Okay. Now, with nutrition, there's very much to the expression that you are what you eat. Now, I'm not an expert in nutrition. My wife has done all kinds of nutrition courses for nursing. She can attest to this probably much better than I, but I do know a couple of things. First, pay attention to how different foods make you feel, and from that, you should have your own list of do's and don'ts. Everybody is different. Everybody is different. Some people I watch eat just ridiculous amounts of food and they never put on weight. And then there's me who I look at a photograph of food and I'll put on a pound. It's just up to the individual. Different bodies, different metabolisms, different needs of those bodies handle things in different ways. They process them differently. But I will say, certain foods will make you feel certain ways. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, have you ever overeaten to the point where you got sick? That's your body's way of saying stop. And there were probably some warning signs before then where you could have put on the brakes. I had my gallbladder removed several years ago. Now I can't process fatty foods the same way I used to when I was 18, 19 years old. Now, because of that, if I eat foods that are really high in fat, I'm going to feel miserable the next day. As a matter of fact, there have been some times where I've been just miserable for like 3 days at a time because I ate the wrong foods one day. Doesn't happen often, because you figure out what your body can handle, what you don't need to take in, and you go from there. Pay attention to that body. The second thing, avoid extremes. Be moderate. For a lot of people, it's easier to become extreme than it is to be moderate. What I mean by that is that we'll cling to one side or the other. We'll go on these crash diets. You'll see people all the time go on these diets where, they're barely eating anything at all. That's not good for you. That's horrible for you, actually. That's an extreme. That's one end of the spectrum here. And on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have overeating. You have people who go to these incredible lengths to try to gorge themselves and glut themselves on all kinds of horrible foods. For example, we've seen plenty of eating competitions. You can go online and actually look up competitive eating. As a matter of fact, let me look up some of these right now. Competitive eating records. This will blow your mind, some of this. Because here we are. Some people will just go to lengths that you say that can't be healthy. There's no way that this can be healthy. Crawfish is popular in Louisiana. The world record for crawfish eating in 10 minutes. You get a 10-minute time limit on this. Sonia Thomas ate 6.5 pounds of crawfish in just 10 minutes. I'm a big guy. I could probably put away 6.5 pounds of crawfish. Not in 10 minutes. You are shucking and moving at that point. How about in 8 minutes? Eric Booker ate 15 burritos in 8 minutes. This is one that just kind of repulses me a little bit. Joey Chestnut, who is huge in the competitive eating world apparently. He holds the world record for eating in 8 minutes time. He ate 141 hard-boiled eggs. 141 hard-boiled eggs in 8 minutes. How would you... Wouldn't you hate to just live at his house, be his wife or something? And you have to be next to the guy who ate 141 hard-boiled eggs. The imagination does its own work on that. There are plenty of others. Let's see. How about donuts in 8 minutes? Another Joey Chestnut record, 55 glazed donuts in 8 minutes. I like donuts, but good Lord, man. How about mayonnaise? Just straight mayonnaise. Maybe you're using a spoon. Maybe you're just dipping your hands in it like you're Pooh Bear riling around in the honey pot there. But Oleg Zornitsky, 4 32-ounce bowls of mayonnaise in 8 minutes. That is 8 pounds of mayonnaise. He ate a pound of mayonnaise a minute. Spam. Canned lunch meat, spam. Salty, it's protein. Richard Lefevre, in 12 minutes, ate 6 pounds of the stuff. And I can keep going on and on. Joey Chestnut, 75 hot dogs at the Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Competition in Coney Island. 75 in 10 minutes. There's a ton of this stuff. Baked beans. Gideon Oji holds the world record for 1 minute and 45 seconds eating 10 pounds of baked beans. It is not healthy for the human body to just gorge themselves on this much poundage of food. This is not okay. This is not all right. I've eaten plenty of stuff before that makes me go, maybe I shouldn't do this, but at least I'm not like Don Lerman, who in 5 minutes wolfed down 7 quarter-pound sticks salted butter. That's nearly 2 pounds of just straight butter. Dude, just taking a stick of butter and just might as well be a Snickers bar. God Lord. But yet we do this. That's what I'm talking about when I say these are the extremes. And it still goes on and on and on. Sonia Thomas. Now, I once ate 12 dozen oysters over the course of an entire night and was sick as an absolute dog. In 8 minutes, Sonia Thomas ate 47 dozen oysters. So that's 47 times 12. Believe it or not, I used to be a math teacher. So 47 times 12. She ate 564 oysters in, what did we say, 8 minutes? Yeah, 8 minutes. And I could keep going on. I mean, there's a ton of these that honestly I don't want to keep going through because they're ridiculous. You can look them up on your own. I may put a link even on Google Classroom to some of these records so you can see. But even though we don't have to, set world records, there are plenty. Sorry, my computer glitched out there for a second. Don't know what caused that. I'll have to splice these two pieces together. But even though we don't have to engage in like these eating contests, plenty of restaurants in our area offer food that just makes one wonder, what in the world? Who is this supposed to be for? Cheeseburger in Shreveport. I'll admit I got my picture on the wall once because you eat their giant cheeseburger and they put you in a goofy hat. There used to be a restaurant in Shreveport called Fat Boys. There was a burger whose name I cannot mention for decorum's sake, but it was named after an Austin Powers character that was also overweight. You can figure that out. It was a cheeseburger that they would bring it out to you, and I forget how much the thing weighed, but it was big enough. I'm talking, it looked like a steering wheel. I took the giant sized bun off the top to look and see what was all on this. The meat patty was one huge meat patty, and it had 4 slices of cheese. None of them touched. It was that big, and I ate the whole thing. That's unhealthy. That's also, overeating. If you haven't noticed, I'm a little overweight. This is not a good thing. But we promote that as a society. We say, oh, well, look at this monster thick burger. Look at this food challenge over here. Magic Grill, which I like some Magic Grill. I think they're a nice little restaurant, good people. Every Mardi Gras, they have a king cake burger, where instead of a bun, they'll serve a cheeseburger in between 2 pieces of king cake. I like king cake. I like hamburgers. But I've never had to pick between saturated fat, clogging my arteries to the point of heart attack, diabetes. Why not put them together, see what happens? Speaking of which, there are others that are fine examples of this. There's a restaurant in Atlanta, Georgia that started the Ham Dog. The Ham Dog is a culinary creation where you start out with a foot-long hot dog wrapped in a beef patty, put on a bun, topped with a pile of chili. Like, you can't even see the chili dog that's under there. On top of that, you've got all the fixins, a fistful of fries, onions, and I mean, it's like this tall. I mean, it's as tall as my giant head, just about. And on top of it, they put a fried egg. I mean, literally days and days and days worth of calories. If you ever look at the nutrition label on things, 2,000 calories is what the average human is supposed to tank a day to have a good, healthy day to fuel them for workouts and everything else. 2,000 calories. Now, if you work out a lot and you're doing heavy weights, muscle training, you can push beyond that because your body will burn it. But the average human being, about 2,000 calories. We're talking about something with, I don't know, maybe 10, 1100, 10,000, 11,000 calories, something in that neighborhood. It's unreal. You got enough food there to eat for a week, but we're forcing it into one meal a day in one sitting. Another restaurant out of Georgia created what's called the Luther Burger. See, the singer Luther Vandross used to come in this particular diner and ask for a bacon cheeseburger, but instead of a bun, they would slice a Krispy Kreme donut in half and use that as the bun. And Luther would get those made special for him all the time whenever he went in there, and he became kind of known for it. So the restaurant started selling it regularly, and they called it a Luther Burger. Luther died of a stroke, by the way. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that those two things are related, but it's food for thought at the very least. What I'm getting at here, a balanced, moderate approach is the way to go, not one extreme or the other. A little bit of junk food on occasion is not going to hurt you. You actually need a little bit of sugars, fats, and oils in your diet. You need small amounts of these, but you need them. They're not horrible for you. So you shouldn't take it to the extreme of trying to cut out everything altogether that could potentially not be grand for you. You're a human being. You're not, a pasture animal. But on the other end of that spectrum, you shouldn't be forcing your body to take on massive amounts of food that it is not designed to process. That's not healthy. Whole grains, fruits, eat a vegetable for heaven's sake. Low-fat dairy products, and try to cut back on the sugary, sweet, fatty stuff that you know is bad for you. Okay. I mean, eating a funnel cake once when the carnival comes through, every October is not going to kill you. Eating a funnel cake every couple of days, that's unhealthy. Don't do that. It's fried dough. Don't do it. It's fried batter. That's all it is. Covered in sugar. Food also affects your mood, so be careful with that. It's one of those things, losing weight, you don't realize how bad you feel until you start to feel good. What I mean by that is the more you lose, like the healthier, the more in shape you are, you start to notice. If you were previously in poor shape, you start to notice how much better you feel. You'll hear a lot of people talk about that with weight loss, especially. What you eat affects how you feel. In a way, you are what you eat. If you go for the right things, you'll be doing all right. Now, another thing when it comes to caring for the body, exercise. You've got to pay attention to how your body handles physical interaction, handles physical activity. I know a filmmaker, and his favorite movie is Forrest Gump. He thinks it's the perfect movie. I enjoy it. I don't think it's the best movie ever made, but it's a really good one. Kind of put Tom Hanks on the map as a dramatic actor, but side note. There's a scene in Forrest Gump where Forrest is trying to deal with so much that's going on in his life that he doesn't understand, and he can't quite grasp everything and process everything that is happening in his life. And so Forrest decides to start running. He just steps out of his door, walks on the porch, and decides he's going to run to the mailbox. And then he decides, well, ran to the mailbox, I'm going to run to the end of the driveway. Runs to the driveway, decide, well, made it here, might as well run to the end of the street, which becomes the end of town, which becomes the next town over. Until finally he runs all the way from one coast to the other coast and starts on his way back again. He's inspiring so many people, and all of a sudden he just stops and he said, I'm done running now. What he was trying to do in that is come to terms with things. And you and I, we can do some of this to a degree. You and I might be able to find that a lot of times working out really does help mentally process some things for us, as well as physically. I know it helps me. Like if I'm really needing to think or just clear my mind, I'll go for a run. Yes, I run. Don't make fun. And that's a good thing, to be able to have that escape. And there's no single best way to do this, no single best way to exercise. Some people run, some people walk, some people go biking, skating, dancing. Some of us do martial arts. That's another thing I do. I've got a buddy who loves yoga. I despise yoga. Despise it. I hate it. But it's good for you. It's amazing for you, and I can't deny that. And that's why from time to time I'll still do it, even though I suck at it. It's such a good workout. You're processing through your body anything that's there that shouldn't be there when you exercise. You're clearing out your pores. You are getting more oxygen to the system, to the bloodstream. It's good for you to exercise. When you think of exercise, don't let pain be what you think of, and don't let looks be what you think of either. I mean, going for a better physique is one thing. Getting in better shape is another thing. But don't get obsessed with your appearance. Now, society is really hung up on looks. We live in a culture that everywhere you go, it's about beauty. Magazines, billboards, movies, TV, advertisements, product advertisements, the packaging themselves. I mean, everything has got these beautiful people just, doing beautiful, glamorous things. And you go to the checkout at the grocery store and there's information about how you can be glamorous too. But those aren't realistic. It's just not something that's realistic. You shouldn't be going for the look. You should instead be going for, how do you feel? And if it's making you feel better, stick with it. Now, that's my time for right now. There will be a part 2 to this, and I'll check with you guys on it as we continue our discussion of the body.